Okay everyone, another Stormbringer delivery is upon me, and what I have this time is issues 23, 24, 25 and 26. Now with this delivery has also come, and I've needed this quite frankly, is another binder. Now at this point, when I'm not joking, my binder is literally busting open. It wouldn't have been able to fit any more issues, so this has come just in time. In fact, I could have probably done with it in the last delivery. Now, I am glad to have a new binder, but I do have an issue with it. And the issue that I have with it is that it's the same binder from the first. Personally, I feel that, it's just the right thing to do is make sure that each binder is different. From my point of view, it's just, the right thing to do. It's a cost-cutting measure, and there's no doubt about that. And when you're paying, particularly for the premium edition, I think it's fair to expect a bit of effort. Now I know why they do this, but I'm not going to justify it because it should have been different from my point of view. So I'm glad to get a new binder. Not very happy that it's the same one. Okay, moving on from there, I'm going to show you the next little thing what we got, which I am very happy about. It's a new Gut Ripper boss. So the good thing is it's an additional Gut Ripper boss. It looks, quite nice. Obviously, he's going to need a unit of Gut Rippers to lead in order for it to work. But overall, you know what? I love a good miniature. So he's got an interesting pose. He's carrying a spear, which is obviously a standard for a Gut Ripper. But what makes him quite interesting is he has a scavenger bird, which, I'm going to call it a vulture. Whether or not it's actually a vulture is neither here nor there. But it's a nice little scavenger bird, so I quite like that addition. So that is our extras that we get with our kits. So with our delivery this month, I don't think that's a premium edition one. I'm sure the premium edition ones are only big monsters. So I think, don't quote me on that, but I think that is just either with the standard or with the premium kits you would have got this on your delivery. So it's a nice little addition. It's a Gut Ripper boss with a different pose. So I always like extra models, to add to my ever-growing pile of things I need to paint and build. Now, moving on from there, we are heading into issue number 23. I think the sun's gone in. It's just gone very dark all of a sudden in my little office. So, issue number 23 here. Now, with this, we get quite a solid, good-looking model. I'll have a look at that in a second, and I'll have a quick look at issue number 23. So it's a Lord Aquila, and it's basically, I'm going to assume that creature is a demigryph, but I will look into that in a bit more detail. So it's nice to have a kind of, a monstrous cavalry. So as we know, last delivery over 2 issues we got the marsh crawler slug off, so that's a kind of close to a chariot, I suppose, for the Cruel Boys. And then we've had the chariot for the Stormcasts, and now we've got a lord on monstrous cavalry, which it's without a doubt going to cause a lot of damage on the battlefield. Now, what this one talks about, and I'm really pleased, is it's a little bit of information about something called the Necroquake. Now, regardless of whatever this is about, we have Nagash, Supreme Lord, God of Death, Supreme Lord of the Undead, right there on the cover. Nagash is just awesome. Everything about Nagash is just cool. And again, it's quite interesting to read about things like this, about what the heroes of the old world have done since the end times. So it's quite actually interesting, and I like a good amount of lore. You know, when you have proper lore in a book, it just brings the place to life. So you've got lore, and then you've got a little story to read through. And then, as always, we have our, what the Lord Aquila is, and then you've got, let's have a look here. No, it looks like Lord Aquila does actually lead a group of others into battle. I don't know if we get them later on. The Stormcasts on, as I said, I think they're demigryphs. Gryph Charger, not a demigryph, Gryph Charger. Yeah. So again, that's a cavalry that you can buy the model. You can definitely buy the models, but whether or not we get them later on, I can't remember now. So we've got our standard how to build, and again we've got our painting. So how to paint the different parts of them. I'm very slowly building up some tutorials. I'm never claimed to be the greatest painter, but it's nice to, get advice from, Games Workshop about how to paint things up. And then, of course, we've got our war scroll regarding the Lord Aquila. And I think from there, we've got, I'm saying Aquila. I'm saying Aquila because I'm so used to 40k. Yeah. And we've got, as always, now the interesting thing is we're getting onto proper pitched battles. And I keep chastising myself for not dragging my son off his computer and sitting down and playing these tutorials with him. But when I'm not doing this, I teach. So you can imagine that my free time is devoured so much sometimes by that as a career choice. So that's issue 23. Now let's look at the model itself. And looking at the model itself, I need to turn my light on before I do the next video. Okay, so the model itself is, a nice beastie model. I'm finding I've always preferred artillery to monsters when I've been collecting fantasy style games. I just think it's so fantastic having artillery, but I've still always liked monsters that aren't massive. So things like this is a great kind of monster that I like. I like these kind of, I suppose by the standard of some of the models you can get now, this is a small monster, isn't it? But we'll probably call it, maybe a mid-sized monster. And I do like this kind of thing. I do think they can be quite charming and look really nice on the battlefield. I'd love to maybe get this next to a Griffin from Oldhammer and see how close it is in size. So a Griffin from Oldhammer, not the plastic one, the old metal one. I'd love to get these side by side and see what size difference it is. I think if I quote a problem with this model straight away, is that the Stormcast is moulded into it, and for me that's going to be a horrible paint job, because I like to keep my cavalry and my rider separate, my animal and my rider separate. So there we go. It's going to be causing slight problems, but overall it is a very nice model, and I really like the look of it, and I think it's going to really add to the feeling of the army. Right then, so that's my review of issue number 23, and you know what, I think score, good model, well, very good model, good lore, that we can add to that and learn about. So I'll be looking forward to reading that while I very slowly transfer parts of my other binder across to the new one. So thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe.